Hi, good morning. Sorry, back again. Last video was disturbed, interrupted due to something. So, same, I'm just continuing in this video. I was talking in chapter 32 that has gone now. I'm just going to speak something on that again because it's disturbed now. I don't know, something happens and every day it happens, nothing very significant in that. It happens every day. Disturbance and disturbance and disturbance. I think this is bad weather, something could be. But anyway, just chapter 30, I just speak again because it's only 2 minutes I talked on that. There's a standard safety work procedures, and I have spoken titles about that. And that is section, where sections were devised and the subjects are there in this, and subjects are terms used, introduction. I use terms used, and that's this introduction and personal protective equipment, safety, orientation courses, and site access. And then it's also HSC, you can say HSC officer, safety or orientation course and site access, HSC officer, supervisors, and HSC officers language, permit to work, risk and assessments, risk assessments, like the method statements, pre-job discussion, then working at heights, man riding baskets, safety harnesses, scaffolding, ladders, fire protection, hard work, general welding, and then use of glass and oxygen equipment and compressed air, abrasive wheels, cartridges, operator fixing, tools, and mechanical plants and equipment, machinery guarding noise, and machine guarding noise, mobile cranes, lifting equipment, reporting of accidents and work of confined spaces, electricity, excavation openings, control of substances, hazardous to health, radiography, housekeeping, and removal of materials of employer or owner, employer owned plant equipment and energy sources and transport access, first aid welfare, general restrictions, site notices, equipment registers, and authorizations. This was in safe work. We're just talking of safe work, and before that I had talked about disciplinary enforcement, and then so safe work we are talking, and it's not safe practices, safe work something else. So I'll just repeat what I have spoken because it's just a start of that, and maybe you're not available at the time I talk about this. Again, I speak this very significant safe work procedures, and this is again in this we are containing terms, then introduction, because PPE, safety work, safety or the orientation course and site access, HSC officer, supervisors and HSC officer language, permit to work PET, W is called risk assessment, the method statements, pre-job discussions and working at heights, men riding baskets and safety harnesses and scaffoldings of ladders, fire protection, hard for the general, welding, use of gas and oxygen equipment, compressed air, abrasive wheels and cartridges, operated fixing tools and equipment, mechanical plant and equipment, machinery, guarding noise, mobile cranes, lifting equipment, reporting of accidents, incidents, work in confined spaces, electricity, excavations and openings, and control of substances hazardous to health, and radiography, housekeeping, removal of material, employer, owner, plant equipment, and energy sources, and transport, first aid, welfare, general restrictions, site notices, equipment registers, and authorizations. So I will go to definitions so quickly in this so that because in each video I do that safety means safety, health, and environment of disciplines. Environment disciplines to support the project activities. Company means an organization carrying out or prosecuting project. Contractor means organization that has one project from owner, client, and subcontractor means an organization that has one put part of the project working on contract organization. Client means the organization and title company in contractual terms, so that as an entrusted project organization, the contract and personal means all personnel involved on project site activities. Responsibility means the job and contract responsibility. Training means training imparted for specific safety topic on job on project site. Then management means organization top, middle, lower management, you can say line management. The safety manager means a person with job title safety manager deployed by certain organization. Then project manager means a person has such a PM titled Deployed by contractor. An engineer means a person appointed by client or a client company for an overall project responsibility. The EPC contractor name of is a project owner. Contractor is EPC contractor. Approved means approved by client. Shall means action shall be carried out. PP means personal protective equipment. Now responsibilities go on. Laborers' responsibility in general respecting certain contract positions. Project manager responsible for overall obligations to provide schedule, also resources, directions, engineering, resolutions. And site manager responsible for overall site prosecution management over work and subcontractors. Site safety officer responsible for overall safety management on site and report to project manager, oblique site manager, oblique corporate safety manager. Construction manager responsible to arrange all safety methods, safety related resources and provide siting of requirements. Project site engineer responsible to carry out safety issues within section. Site safety inspector or engineer responsible to supervise safety measures on site and control safety issues should bring to site line management to adopt correct measures. Site foreman responsible for compliance of safety measures as standards are as directed. An individual working on site responsible to maintain safety measures in case missing should bring to site team attention and instruction. What this is, see, these instructions are issued to EPC contractor personnel carrying out work project. They outline health, safety, and environment rules and documents that are required to be followed when undertaking work. Instructions are produced for use of EPC contractor, management, and supervisory staff who are required to ensure that rules and documents are brought to notice of all EPC contractor personnel and that such rules and documents are strictly followed. If there is certain doubt or misunderstanding of the contents of this document, they should be taken up with EPC contractor, safety department. All special precautions are more detailed. Guidance on HSE procedure should be discussed with client safety staff or supervisors prior to commencement of work. Personal protective equipment. Personal protective equipment, PPE. EPC contractor shall ensure that its employees and those of its lower tier subcontractors are provided with all necessary protective equipment and that their employees properly wear and store such equipment. EPC contractor shall ensure that when I'm saying EPC contractor, doesn't mean EPC contractor, you can consider the main contractor. EPC stands for, you can say, engineering project, engineering procurement and construction contractor who is responsible for design, prosecution, execution, procurement, and commissioning, etc. is complete type of contractors. EPC contractors shall ensure that personal protective equipment is properly maintained in good order and replaced at no charge when defective or lost of time is due. All protective equipment shall conform to approved standards and fit for intended purpose. We fit for intended purpose. All protective equipment shall conform to approved standard and shall be fit for intended purpose, but should be comfortable in use. EPC contractor employees shall wear personal protective equipment required, otherwise disciplinary action shall be resorted to against those employees not doing so, and where appropriate action may also be resorted to line supervision for allowing workers as such without wearing protective equipment. Eye protection, specialist eye protection for operations such as welding, burning, grinding. These are very, very important aspect also. Specialist eye protection for operations such as welding, burning, grinding, etc. many more shall meet BSAS DIN or ANSI EU standards. BS British standards, ASDN, DIN or ANSI EU standards, all they are full forms and they are full face visors of welding visors are supplied, shall be capable of being fitted to safety helmets. Hearing protection shall consist of disposable earplugs, ear inserts plugs, or ear muffs, which meet BSDIN, AS or ANSI EU standards. Attenuation characteristics shall be sufficient to reduce noise levels to below 85 decibels. Respiratory protection. Respiratory protection equipment shall be suitable for hazard presented by work scope, that is potential hazard problem, which could arise. This possible respirators for nuisance industry shall comply with BS, DIN, AS or ANSI standards, which shall have a protection factor of at least 10. Safety footwear shall comply with BS, DIN, AS or ANSI EU standards. They shall have steel toe caps inserted in boot, that is not an exterior of boot, inserted in boot. Was that safety footwear? They shall have steel toe caps inserted in boot, that is not on exterior of boot. If Wellington boots are required, shall be to BSDIN, AS or ANSI standards and would have steel toe caps inserted into boot. Gloves. General purpose gloves shall be to BSDIN, AS or ANSI EU standards, shall have canvas backs and leather hide palms. Safety harness, if required, shall comply with BS or ANSI EU standards, which shall be full harness. Inertia reels, if required, shall be the BS, DIN or ANSI EU standards. Overalls. Wearing of loose clothing or robes on site is not permitted. Within construction site, cotton or polycotton overalls or shirt and trousers shall be worn. Should welding be necessary, welders shall be provided with fire retardant overalls. Other PPE. All personal protective equipment shall meet the BS, DIN, AS or ANSI EU standards. Type of PPE issued shall be detailed in work method statement, a copy of which shall be given to client's site HSE manager. Basic personal protective equipment to be worn by all site employees shall be safety helmet, safety footwear, overalls or shirt and trousers. Safety helmet, safety footwear, overalls or shirt and trousers. All contractor personnel shall be readily identifiable either by bearing their company's name or logo on their helmet or overalls. HSE orientation course and site access. Contractors shall ensure that each of their employees attained HSE orientation induction course organized by site safety supervisor. Contractors shall ensure that all employees always carry following documents during period of work at site, which is valid work permit. Original one, applicable for migrant workers only. Photocopy of driving permit relevant to equipment or type of vehicle which may be allowed to drive on site. Health, Safety and Environment Officer, Safety Officer shall be dedicated on site only on health, safety and environmental duties. All visiting HSE officers shall report to site safety manager. A contractor HSE officer shall submit on a monthly basis Client HSE manager a detailed safety HSE report. Supervisors and HSE officers language. Contractors, supervisors and HSE officers shall be fluent in English or whatever language is mentioned or indicated on contract. Permits to work. Permits to work is very, very important from working viewpoint because wherever it is required is required. Refer to client's permit to work procedures also, which is there already in these talks, and a permit to work system is a safety document. It's a safety document designed to protect the personal and plant, both personal and plant. Personal means all classes of workers engaged on that work, and plant means equipment, machines, whatever. It's issued based on considerations of all technical requirements, their impacts on personnel, required safety compliance, essential on activity concerned, and a time limit indicated for its validity. It forms a clear record of all foreseeable hazards which have been considered in advance. Correct operation of system ensures that only one authority issues only one authority issues permits to allow personnel to work. Only authorized supervisors shall request and receive permits. All personnel are aware of safety measures required to be taken. Area affected by work is clearly defined. Period of time during which work may be carried out is clearly defined. Correct protective clothing, equipment provided and used. Responsible management is aware of work in progress. Let me again explain this. It's very important from big projects point of view. A permit to work system is a safety document designed to protect the personnel and plant. Issued based on considerations of all technical requirements, their impacts on personnel, required safety compliance, essential on activity, concerned, and a time limit indicated for its validity. It forms a clear record of all foreseeable hazards which have been considered in advance. Correct operation of system ensures that only one authority issues a permit to allow personnel to work. Only authorized supervisor shall request and receive permit. All permits, all personnel are aware of safety measures required to be taken. Area affected by work is clearly defined. Period of time during which work may be carried out is clearly defined. Correct protective clothing, equipment provided and used. Responsible management aware of work in progress. Then arrangements. All EPC contractor contract project personnel shall comply with permit to work system operated by operator, site operator. Should a permit to work be required for whatever aspect of contract, work on that particular operation shall not begin until such a permit has been issued and issued with included terms and conditions of permit for compliance. Permits to work shall generally be required for following activities: entry into equipment or all confined spaces. These are categories I am telling you where permit to work applies, system applies, and it is to be in contract, and the contract has to clearly mandate it. Entry into equipment or all confined spaces is one requirement. Then temporary electrical works where electrical isolation document applies. Isolation documents applies. Excavation below 1.2 meter in depth may be reduced to 0.6 meter in areas of non-buried services. Where services are buried and it is known, then this permit is required even more, even 0.6 meter and down. Otherwise, 1.2 meter and down. Excavation. Use of man basket. Use of man baskets. You need permit for that. External interconnections. External means external of your site. And internal interconnection. All activities carried out within operating authority controlled areas. In addition to above activities, permits shall be considered for whatever potentially hazardous activity where an extra degree of work control is felt to be appropriate. In live plant areas during startup and commissioning activities, additional permits shall be required in plant areas. In live plant areas which are working and during startup and commissioning activity, additional permits shall be required. Risk assessment. Risk assessment. EPC contractor shall produce risk assessments for all works under control. Risk assessment form shall provide client within written information. Client written information on following. What are this? Identification of all hazards applicable to significant risk activities. Details of measures in place to control risks. Justifications that existing control measures are adequate, and if not, detailed action plan about how control risks. Quantitative risk assessment, that's QRA. Now, method statements. Method statements is foundation of any work, which many people in our country least bother about that. But this is very important one for safety, for quality, for construction, for progress, for product, and for everything. Even for execution. Execution is overall execution. So oral execution, sectional execution, or you can say activity execution. So many requirements do exist to work based on method statements if you want to achieve quality and time and people to learn activities. Method statements is EPC contractor personnel shall submit method statements for all works where client site HSE manager or site construction manager consider risks from whatever activity to be significant. Work method statement shall detail job to be undertaken. Number one, job to be undertaken. Then individual activities required completing job. Then individual trades or disciplines involved in each activity. Plant, equipment, tools to be used in each activity. Substances, chemicals to be used and during which activity to be used, together with cost assessment. Cost, not cost, cost. Name of supervisors for each activity. Name of person overall charge of job. Detailed description of law of hot work. Detailed description of hot work. Also, so detailed description of how work name of person, involved charge of job, and detailed description of how work shall be done, including control measures and document to complete each activity and overall job safely. Pre-job description, pre-job discussion. EPC contractor shall ensure that its supervision in direct charge of a job fully briefs and discusses the instructs with personnel carrying out job following issues prior to job commencement or commencing. Nature of job, associated hazards, safe working methods to be adopted, requirements of permit to work. APC contractor shall also ensure that all its employees are aware of requirements contained within these instructions. Working at heights. Contractual personnel shall not interfere with access arrangements, namely scaffolding, ladders, etc., where EPC contractor provides its own means of access. Such arrangements shall be in accordance with all legal requirements and relevant site standards. Scaffolding shall only be erected or dismantled by suitably trained, qualified, and competent scaffolders. Work which results in openings being created where persons can fall through or removal of side walling or barriers where persons can fall from shall be effectively protected to prevent injury and have a detailed method statement, work permit, and designated supervisor. Materials, equipment, or plant shall be properly secured to prevent them falling from height. Where there is a danger of falling material, effective preventive steps, that is, installation of solid barriers and warning notices, be provided to prevent access/warn people about hazard. Reference should be made to these instructions covering scaffolding, main riding basket, safety harness, etc. should etc. where appropriate. Reference should be made to these instructions covering scaffolding, man riding baskets, safety harness, etc. where appropriate. Safety harnesses, lifelines, and fall arrests. Arresters shall be used where staging, scaffolding, or other safe means of access is not practicable. Man riding baskets. Let's see. When carriage of personnel by crane, when carriage of personnel by crane is required, man riding baskets shall be suitably tested and have a current test certificate being clearly displayed, man riding only. All wire ropes and other attached lifting equipment shall also have an updated test certificate. All cranes used for carrying personnel shall be provided with a dead man's handle facility to ensure that brake is applied when control lever is released. Crane hooks shall be fitted with safety catches or equivalent and an operator shall be seated in his cab at all times. At no time shall crane be allowed and used in a free fall situation Cranes shall have power lowering capabilities for carrying men. Limit devices shall be fitted to cranes to ensure that carrier cannot be raised carrier cannot be raised above or hoist limit of crane, limit which shall be tested daily before raising persons in basket. All employees using man riding basket shall be secured inside basket by a safety harness shall be secured through master link of supporting sling or to a hook of crane. Man riding baskets may only be used when an appropriate work permit has been issued by authorized person and has been approved by EPC contractor supervision management. Safety harness if required. Where it is not practicable to provide a standard working platform and working height exceeds 2 meters, full safety harnesses shall be worn. When working on open steel or erecting, dismantling, cantilever or hanging scaffolding is secured, attached safety harness and where required, an inertia reel shall be worn. Again, when it's not practicable to provide standard working platform and working height access to meter, full safety harness shall be worn. When working on open steel or erecting or dismantling cantilever or hanging scaffolding, a securely attached safety harness and where required. Right. When working on open steel or erecting, dismantling cantilever or hanging scaffolding securely, attach the safety harness and where required, an inertia reel shall be worn. Safety harness shall be approved to BS or ANSI EU standards, be properly maintained and regularly inspected at monthly intervals. A record of such inspection shall be kept by contractor. Where safety lifelines are not adequate, an inertia reel shall be supplied by EPC contractor, an independent examiner in where safety lifelines are not adequate, an inertia reel shall be supplied by a contractor. An independent examiner, in addition to normal monthly checks, shall carry out 6 monthly examinations and certification of inertia reels. Color coding on inertia reels shall be done for lifting equipment requirement. Now, scaffolding, very common and useful for activities at height and it is pro workers. All scaffolding to be used by contractor personnel must be manufactured to British standards or whatever standards are approved on your contract and erected in compliance with PS 59731993 Code of Practice for Access and Working Scaffolds and special scaffolding structures in steel. Scaffolding shall not be disturbed or altered by any unauthorized persons. Where alterations are required, Where alterations are required, authorized scaffolders shall carry out work under competent supervision. Where materials are to be positioned on scaffolding, client must ensure that scaffolding has been designed to carry that load of adequate strength and is of no overload. Scaffolding shall be inspected at weekly intervals by authorized scaffold inspector who shall sign and date scaffold scaffolds tag. After each inspection. A scaffolding not considered safe would have scaffold tag withdrawn and okay. Once again, scaffold shall be inspected at weekly intervals by authorized scaffold inspector shall sign and date scaffold tag. After each inspection, scaffolding not considered safe would have scaffold tag withdrawn and a prominent do not use sign displayed. Scaffold register shall be kept by authorized scaffold inspector. This would contain date of first and subsequent weekly inspections with right type and compact. Individual identifications of all scaffolds, which shall be cross-referenced to scaffold tag identity number. Okay, clear name and signature of authorized scaffold inspector against each separate scaffold inspector. No scaffold be erected which impedes normal access or can be accidentally struck by moving plant or crane without prior consultation with EPC contracting management so that a safe system of work be agreed. If there exists a doubt about security of anchorage, suspension points or ties for a scaffold, namely strength of existing building or structures or those under construction, client must ensure safety suitability of erection. All scaffolds shall be provided with suitable access, and where ladders are used for this purpose, they shall be of adequate length and properly secured by either lashing or fixing to prevent displacement. Action shall be taken to warn personnel against using partly erected or dismantled scaffold. A prominent "Do not use" sign shall be clearly displayed. An approved standard for scaffolding shall be issued to scaffolding contractors separately. Rolling scaffolds shall not be constructed with a height greater than 3 times minimum base width and only be used on paved prepared surfaces. Hydraulic platform shall only be worked by approved trained operators. Now we come to ladders. Ladders. So sorry, of course, technical, but inclined and boring, but it is to be done. Ladders. Only properly manufactured ladders to whatever standards or equivalent shall be used on site. Site assembled ladders of nail timbers shall not be permitted. Ladders be in good condition and free from defects, broken rungs, etc. Okay. Ladder shall be in good condition, free from defects, as broken rungs, split styles. Ladder shall not be painted To hide defects, the leather shall be securely fastened at top, foot at bottom. Where fastening is not practicable, be properly positioned at base, be properly positioned at base, extend at least 1 meter above working platform. Bear an angle of 30 mm out for a 1.2 meter vertical drop. Means be at an angle of 300 mm, 1 feet out of every 1.24 meters vertical drop. Means for 1.2 meters, it's saying 30 out of every 1.2 meters. Well, a leather shall be inspected and color coded for lifting equipment and record of inspection retained by contractor. Fire protection. I'm just repeating this because this was briefly explained in many videos, but it's important to renew or refresh all the time. It's a very not daily use item, but you have to keep them in mind so when required it can come and help you. Protection. EPC contractor shall ensure that adequate fire precautions are taken whilst carrying out their activities. Adequate fire precautions are provision of a correct type of extinguisher, provision of correct type fire extinguisher, normally dry powder, ability of contractor employees to use fire extinguishers, then contractor shall ensure that their employees are aware of correct procedure to be followed in event of a fire alarm, evacuation. Contractor to ensure that their employees are aware of correct procedure to be followed in the event of a fire alarm evacuation situation. An employee shall be made aware of location of location of and where necessary equipment. It can be trained in correct use of that. They also trained in what? In use of fire extinguisher equipment, is how to use it, alarm call points and emergency telephones, escape route and fire exits, assembly points. Telephone is not big issue nowadays because everybody is mobile, so it's different one. Equipment stopping and assembly points. Assembly points very important. Escape routes are very important. Right? Apex EPC contractor shall ensure that their employees contractor shall ensure that their employees participate fully on client's evacuation drill exercise. Contractor office or cabins shall have at least one powder type fire extinguisher located at uh, contractors offices cabins shall have at least one powder type fire extinguisher located at access or exit doors. No point within any office, no point within office cabin shall be more than 20 meters from a fire extinguisher. Again, offices cabin shall have at least one powder type fire extinguisher located at access or exit door. No point within any office cabin shall be more than 20 meters from fire extinguisher. 20 meters about there. No point. Within any office cabin shall be more than 20 meters from a fire extinguisher. Okay. Then engine-driven plant brought onto site shall have one dry powder extinguisher mounted on it. Again, engine-driven plant brought onto site shall have one dry powder extinguisher mounted on it. Hot work, general. Hot work. Hot work is defined as burning, welding, grinding, etc. However, within live plant areas and activity which could generally speak is, is considered a hot work means what this says a hot work is defined as a burning, welding, grinding, etc. Okay. Hot work is defined as burning, welding, grinding, however, within live plant area and activity which could generate a spark is considered the hot work. Means a source that can create, that can burn, that can give like consequence of a spark is considered a hot work. And adequate amount of dry powder fire extinguishers shall be located in close proximity to hot work areas where work is going on. Hot work areas must have in its proximity a can say powder extinguishable, fire extinguishable. In areas of high fire risks, in areas of high fire risk, a trained dedicated fire watchers shall be positioned at work site or risk area. All slag and sparks shall be contained within immediate work area. Slag and sparks shall be contained within immediate work area. Temporary fabrication shelters shall be flame retardant material. Temporary fabrication shelters shall be flame retardant material. Welding and burning. Welding and burning on certain materials may give rise to hazardous fumes. In certain areas, local exhaust ventilation shall be used as agreed agreed between EPC contractor and the client. Welding and burning on certain materials may give rise to hazardous fumes. In certain areas, local exhaust ventilation shall be used as agreed between contractor and client. Other more open areas, respiratory protective equipment shall be worn. In other more open areas, respiratory protective equipment shall be worn. Welding of galvanized fittings is to be avoided, but when required, may be carved out in office, carried out in office or accommodation area. Once again, I read this. In other more open areas, respiratory protective equipment shall be worn. Welding of galvanized fittings is to be avoided. Galvanized fittings to be avoided. Galvanized welding of galvanized fittings is to be avoided. Welding of galvanized fittings is to be avoided, but when required, respiratory protection shall be used. Respiratory protection shall be worn. Hot work shall not normally be carried out in office or accommodation areas. Hot work areas For hot work in areas ready for startup, a client work permit is required. Client means owner. Work permit is required. Welding. Hazards during welding activities shall be identified and adequate precautions be resorted to prior to starting actual work, depending on method of welding and surrounding circumstances of work location. All required safety precautions in accordance to client's SHE or HSE procedures or instructions shall be adhered to, means complied with. Construction manager or superintendents shall ensure that all equipment used in welding activities are fit to intended purpose, safe for use at site and free from defects. Sorry. Construction managers, superintendents shall ensure that all equipment used in welding activities are fit to intended purpose, safe for use at site, and free from defects. Periodical inspections shall be carried out by engineers and supervisors to ensure safe and proper use of all equipment. Required service and maintenance are carried out timely to ensure safe operation. Fire retardant overalls and other required PPE shall be used by persons involved in welding and related tasks. Safety officers and supervisors shall be overseeing all activities, make sure all safe procedures are implemented through inspections and on-spot corrective instructions delivered if so required. Use of gas and oxygen equipment. Where EPC contractor brings their own equipment onto project, such equipment shall comply with approved standards. Cylinders shall comply with BS or equivalent standards, be in good condition and not suffering from corrosion. Be properly color coded. There's black, oxygen, maroon, acetylene, red, LPG, blue, argon, etc. Be individually identified. Be accompanied by valid test certificate. Hoses shall be properly colored, coded to internationally recognized standard for gas being used, be in good condition and fitted with hose connectors attached by permanent clips. Check valves and flashback arresters shall be used on both sides, both hoses, all times. Check valves and flashback arresters shall be used on both hoses, all times. Equipment used by EPC contracts shall be properly maintained. Suspected leaks may be confirmed by a soap solution. Soap solution is required as material specific use for specific use, and that is soap solution shall be properly maintained. Equipment used by contractors shall be properly maintained. Suspected leaks may be confirmed by a soap solution. If leak cannot be cured, equipment shall be withdrawn. Users shall check equipment for perished, damaged hoses. For perished, users shall check equipment for perished means like gone, damaged hoses, regulators, and pressure gauges, etc. The defect shall be reported to supervisors. Gas cylinders shall not be left lying around. Arrangements should be made to store cylinders in an open, mesh-fenced compound before constructing a temporary gas compound or using an existing gas storage area. EPC contractor shall obtain permission from client. EPC contractor shall provide suitable facilities to minimize the manual handling of cylinders. Cylinders shall be borne on trolleys or tied off when on site. Oxygen, fuel, gas cylinders shall be kept separate with a minimum separation distance of 5 meters. Cylinders shall never be stored or used in a horizontal position but shall be secured in an upright position. Empty cylinders shall also be separated from full one. All gas cylinders should be handled with care and shall not be either misused or abused. Shall be properly shut off when not in use and safety caps be fitted when being moved out. Great care shall be taken to ensure that gas equipment, including hoses, is not allowed to cause obstruction of roadways, walkways, manholes, ladders, or other means of access where there can cause hazards or be damaged. Hoses not in use should be coiled up and put in a safe place. Hoses should, whenever possible, be supported off ground. Great care should be taken to ensure that gas equipment, including hoses, is not allowed to cause obstruction of roadways. So this was about that shall be properly sharp and not in use and safety caps effective when being moved. Great care shall be taken to ensure that gas equipment, including hoses, is not allowed to cause obstruction of roadways, walkways, manhole ladders, or other means of access where they can cause hazardous or be damaged. Hoses not in use. Hoses not in use should be coiled up and put in a safe place. Hoses should whenever possible be supported off ground. Where operation involves use of gas and oxygen equipment enclosed or semi-enclosed spaces, its contractor supervision shall carry out frequent checks to ensure that these procedures are complied with. During meal breaks and stopping times, hoses and equipment shall be removed from confined spaces. Oxygen or gas cylinders shall not be taken into confined spaces for either use or storage. No modification to tanks or drums which have contaminated flammable liquid shall be undertaken at site. No modification to tanks or drums which have contained flammable liquid shall be undertaken at site. Torch shall only be lit using a lighter designed for that purpose. Hoses shall be routed to avoid trip hazards or damage. Compressed air. All air receivers and compressors shall be in good condition and properly maintained. All receivers shall be individually identified and marked with their safe working pressure. All air receivers shall be fitted with a properly set pressure relief valve. All compressed air fittings shall be wired and or restrained to prevent them from whipping or should company. Okay, whereas all air receivers shall be fitted with properly set pressure relief valves. Air compressed or fittings, air compressed air fittings shall be valves shall be wired out or restrained to prevent them from whipping should coupling be broken. Okay. While all compressed air fittings shall be wired and restrained to prevent them from whipping should coupling be broken. Only those clamps designed for compressed air service shall be used. Worn dry Jubilee clips are not acceptable. Compressed air shall never be used for cleaning clothes. Yeah, people have used sometime and should be used. Abrasive wheels, well, I talk loud, but then again, it's just simplification. Here is contracts shall ensure that their employees authorized to change abrasive wheels be competent so to do. Contractor employees authorized to change wheels shall be in position at all times on right. No problem. EPC contract employees authorized to change wheels shall be in position of all times on site. Certificate detailing their appointment and writing. Details of each employee trained shall be entered in abrasive wheel register on site. EPC contractor shall produce certificates and registers on request. Machine used to drive abrasive wheels should be in the good condition, properly guarded and have operating speed. Clearly marked on them. Operating speed clearly. The machine used to drive abrasive wheels shall be in good condition, properly guarded and have operating speed clearly marked on them. Pedestals, let me say, machines used to drive as wheels shall be in good condition, properly guarded, having operating speed clearly marked on them. Pedestals are bench mounted grinders. Pedestals are bench mounted grinders should have emergency stop button and be fitted with a properly adjusted. Okay. Pedestals or bench-mounted grinders shall have emergency stop button and be fitted with a properly adjusted to rest. All handheld grinders shall have a dead main switch. Now come to cartridge operated fixing tools. I have some problem. I use the cataract and sometimes I find it difficult to read. So it's my problem, personal problem. Even then, there is no. I find some reflection on this text in my eyes. Cartridge operated fixing tools either sometimes disappears and I see VPC contractor has to bring this cartridge operated fixing tool to site. It shall be according to phase 4078 the equivalent and show safe working procedures according to manufacturer's instructions. This cartridge operating fixing tools are only trained and competent persons shall be entrusted with carriage operated fixing facility. Only trained and competent persons shall be entrusted to work with cartridge operated fixing tools. Cartridge operated fixing tools. Supervisors shall be authorizing competent persons ensure safe operation throughout the task. All cartridges shall be stored under lock and key when not in use, and ensure that no unauthorized persons have an access to any of tools and cartridges. Require persons involved in affected by required persons involved and affected by operation of such tools would use personal protective equipment. So all cartridges shall be stored under lock and key when not in use, and shall ensure that no authorized persons have an access to any of tools and cartridges. Required persons involved and affected by operation of such tools would would use persons protective equipment, personal protective equipment. Now, all hazards related to operation of cartridges operated tools shall be accessed, and adequate precautionary measures be prevented for first operation. Last line again is all the hazards related to operation of cartridges. A cartridge operated tool shall be accessed and adequate precautionary measures be implemented for safe working, safe operation, which must be explained to all persons involved in toolbox stocks. Toolbox stocks is still in mind. All hazards related to the operation of cartridges operated tools shall be accessed and adequate precautionary measures be implemented for safe operation, which must be explained to all persons involved during a toolbox stock. Tools and equipment. All EPC contractor tools and equipment should be suitable and adequate for intended purpose. Guards and electrical tip switches shall work effectively and not be removed, bypassed. All tools shall be maintained in safe working condition. Contracts shall provide suitable storage, suitable racks and bins for storing tools and equipment. EPC contract shall nominate or employ services of a competent qualified electrician to ensure and tag electrical powder based hand tools, transformers, distribution boards, extension cables, etc. Okay. EPC contractor shall nominate and employ services of a competent qualified electrician to inspect and tag electrical powder, hand tools, electrical power, not electrical power hand tools, transformers, distribution boards, extension cables, etc. on an at least quarterly basis. Tag shall display name, signature of individual inspecting tool, date of inspection, and be ticked to indicate that tool is safe for use. Contract shall keep on site register of all electrical power hand tools in use. Register shall include detail in individual identity number of tool, name, signature of qualified electrician carrying out inspection, date of inspection, remarks on conditions of tools and whether repaired or withdrawn from use. No electrical power, no electrical powered hand tools liked shall be liked out. No electric power hand tool shall be used other than it is tagged with a current safe for use tag. All electrical leads shall be connected to power source through standard industrial waterproofed plugs and circuit. All electrical leads shall be connected to power source through standard industrial waterproof plugs and sockets which be in good condition. Mechanical plants and equipments, 11 of 80. Okay, still more. I think okay. Mechanical plant and equipment. Mechanical plant and equipment includes, but it's not limited, means the earth moving plant, big one, road making plant and equipment, concrete batching plant and mixers, forklift trucks, miscellaneous plant including generators and compressors, powered access equipment, star lift, cherry picker, etc., pile driving equipment. Mechanical plants equipment are longer, no. Earth moving plants are many, excavators, big machine, small machine, rock hammer, bulldozer, so many, a shovel, like that, no, many. Road making plant and equipment, road making plants are so many. For example, truck is there, paver is there, roller is there, and many more. Concrete batching plant and mixers of transit trucks are called batching plant itself is many machines, the silos are there, bins, and mixer is there. Material is there, forklift trucks, forklift, all of miscellaneous plant including generators and compressors, powered access equipment, star lifts, cherry pickers, and pile driving equipment. Then come on to maintenance. All items of mechanical plant transported to project shall be in safe and sound conditions and be properly maintained. Program of regular preventative maintenance shall be established by EPC contractor for manufacturer's handbook to ensure that all plant equipment are systematically inspected, maintained, and repaired as necessary. Preventive maintenance program at EPC contractors employees responsible actions shall be clearly detailed. A safe system of virtual access during all maintenance and repair operations to ensure that no part of machinery is set in motion while work is being carried out. Where free fueling is required, facilities provided shall be adequately covered by fire extinguishers, earthing, warning signs, bunding, and propel dispensers. Where refueling is required, facility providing shall be adequately covered by fire extinguishers. This was all this, Come on, the next one. That is, all waste, all waste oil shall be collected and recycled or safely disposed of in accordance with existing regulations. And then competency. All drivers and operators of mobile plant, mechanically propelled vehicles shall be in possession of appropriate license for class of vehicle. All drivers, operators, and banksmen of mobile plant, mechanically propelled vehicle shall be trained. Names and license details of all proposed drivers and operators of mobile plant mechanically propelled vehicles along with class of vehicle to be operated shall be readily available with concerned section supervisor at site if required to be examined by client general. Every dangerous part of machinery shall be securely guarded. Guards removed for maintenance or repair purposes shall be replaced before machine is set in motion. No mobile plant mechanically propelled vehicle shall carry passengers unless a proper fixed seat is provided. Mobile plant mechanically propelled vehicles shall be parked on firm level ground when unattended. Engine is stopped, brakes on, and some load or attachment lowered to ground. No mechanical plant or equipment shall be sited on or operated on some area of project if objected by client. All drivers, operators of mobile plant mechanically propelled vehicles shall strictly obey instructions of site security, traffic regulations, and speed limits. A banksman shall be in attendance during all hazardous reversing movements. Flame arresters. All mobile plants for use in live plant areas during startup and commissioning phase of project shall be diesel driven and fitted with exhaust flame arresters. Machinery guarding. Unauthorized personnel shall not operate, interfere, or tamper with contractor plant or equipment. Persons authorized to use machines shall first check that guards are in position and that all other safety devices, namely emergency stops, are in working order. All plant or equipment brought onto client's premises shall be properly guarded to prevent injury. No guard or fence may be removed from machinery. Noise. Ear protection zones shall be clearly identified. Contractors shall ensure that employees are provided with and use suitable approved hearing protection when working in these zones. Contractors shall ensure that noise levels produced are as low as reasonably possible. Contractors shall advise client if they anticipate excessive noise levels from their operations so that all reasonable practical precautions can be taken to protect persons who may be affected. Where noise levels from operations exceed 85 dB, all employees involved in operations shall be supplied with suitable approved heating protection. Mobile cranes. I think 10 minutes. All cranes shall carry relevant test certificates and throughout the examination reports together with manufacturer's handbook. This documentation shall be submitted to client for inspection before shipment to site. Only persons who are competent and authorized by contractors shall be allowed to operate cranes. Contractors shall be able to prove the satisfaction of client competence of their employees to operate such equipment prior to use. Cranes operators or other competent persons shall carry out daily inspections and enter these on crane register. A maintenance program in accordance with manufacturer's specifications is scheduled for all EPC contractor cranes and equipment. Travel, travel rules for cranes and crane standing shall be agreed with a responsible person of client in order to avoid damages to such existing excavation excavations made up ground, etc. Crane capacity chart, load radius tables shall be displayed on or should be available on crane for easy reference. All cranes shall be fitted with a safe load indicator, a reverse warning audible alarm, crane hook with safety, crane, crane hook, crane hooks with safety catches, all of which shall be serviceable. So a crane shall be fitted with a safe load indicator, a reverse warning audible alarm, crane hooks with safety catches, all of which shall be serviceable, rigging and de-rigging of crane components, including fly chips, shall be done under supervision of competent lifting supervisor and in compliance to manufacturer's specifications. A lifting supervisor shall be appointed to oversee all lifting operations. Lifting supervisor must ensure that adequate ground bearing capacity is available for lifting operations before setting, locating stations of crane. Otherwise, if you don't check this, machine or equipment may sink into ground. Lifting equipment. I think it's better to close now. So it's not finished 13 of official 5 pages more than 2 more. But anyway, lifting equipment. All lifting equipment used by contractors shall be tested and examined for a valid certificate. Equipment shall be properly marked with an identification number giving safe working load and be color coded by contractor client specifications. Copies of all test and examination certificates shall be available on EPC contractor premises for inspection by client's representative or visiting authority, whosoever, statutory authority or some other authority. A register of all lifting equipment shall be used by EPC contractors shall be maintained EPC contractor shall emanate a competent employee charged with ensuring lifting equipment properly inspected and registered, maintained. Nominated employee shall receive all lifting gear on its arrival on site and ensure its proper storage in a rigging store or shall ensure a valid certificate accompanies each item of lifting gear and keep all such certificates for examination by client. Enter details of all lifting equipment received on site into a register which must have details of lifting gear, identification number, and safe working load. Register of issues of lifting gears. Webbing with a nylon sling shall be used for one job only and must be returned on completion of that job. Defective lifting equipment shall be withdrawn immediately from service and returned to nominated employee. No item of lifting gear shall be used to support a load greater than safe working load of lifting gear. Lifting equipment and other lifting appliances belonging to EPC contractor shall only be used by EPC contractor personnel and reporting of incidents and accidents. EPC contractor shall ensure that their employees report all injuries immediately to client. Contract personnel shall comply fully with reporting of accidents and incidents and procedures. Details of all accidents and incidents shall be given to client and contractors. HSE officer should conduct an investigation and notify client's office findings. The client shall, where applicable, inform authorities and work in controlled spaces. It's not envisioned that each contractor personnel shall be required to work in confined spaces. Should work of this nature become necessary. Separate safety officer safety procedures shall be produced with electricity. Well, I think electricity shall be provided for EPC contractor in accordance with terms and conditions of contract. The contractor shall not interfere with the work or any of client's electrical installations. All necessary precautions to avoid accidental contact with live conductors, etc. All equipment shall be treated as live unless isolated, logged off, and tagged. Repairs or installation of electrical equipment shall only be carried out by a competent qualified electrician. Tools, plant, and equipment exceeding 110 volts, 55 volt to earth shall be doubly insulated, connected to an earth leakage circuit breaker (ELCB), and only used by authorized person. Cable management to avoid tripping hazards shall be implemented. I think I should close this now. Tomorrow I'll take this. Still many pages are there, so we'll take more tomorrow. And I think we should not run very fast, otherwise the problem reach here. So the safety is moving, and many chapters have been covered, and some only left. And I think talking unnecessary long and fast is no use. Everybody should understand this is a practical requirement. Otherwise, it's not some dictating or something like that. Safety is to be understood first before application, or else there's no meaning at all. So I thank all and close it for next one with request that you can further disseminate this information if you so wish for use of others and for welfare of people concerned. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. Okay, fine, thanks.